away. Has it got it? Yes, it has. Canada creep over the crossbar, and a fantastic kick from their number 9, Gordon McRorie.
And welcome back to the Canadian Ruck. This is Jamie Gray, and this pod, Canadian Ruck, welcomes Gordon McRorie. Gordon had a stellar Canadian career, made his debut back in June of 2014 against Japan. He was a member of Rugby Canada's 2 World Cup squads at 2015 in England, 2019 in Japan. Over 40 caps with Canada, over 280 points with Canada. And right now he's actually over in Italy because he had signed a pro contract, and he's just kind of in limbo over there as they've gone back on another lockdown. So, as always, we do a little plug for us here, not for us, not for the pod, but for those of our guests, because we want their stories to be heard. So if you want to hear from somebody, want some questions asked, reach out to us on Twitter at Canadian Ruck, on Instagram at @the_Canadian_Ruck. On Facebook, we're at The Canadian Ruck, and email is thecanadianruck@gmail.com. These are great platforms of social media for us to put our content out, and also to give you a chance to give your feedback or to take part in some of the contests we have. We gave one toque away already to Jenna Eisner in Nova Scotia, and we have another one that's going to go here shortly. We'll get to that in a bit. As always, we're on a variety of platforms: the Spotify, the iTunes, Google Podcasts, CastBox. Make sure you're watching and listening and following and subscribing. We're also on YouTube. But I'm going to ask that you always share. If you hear one of the pods you like it, share it. If you see a pod you like it, share it. Just make sure that these great stories from our great Canadian nationals, the administration, the coaches, and whoever we have on, make sure those stories are getting shared. And if you want one of your buddies to hear it, direct them to the website, thecanadianruck.weebly.com. All our content is linked off there as well. It might be easier to navigate. I'll leave that up to you. Rugby news this week. It is Friday night, October 30th, as I record this, and I want to get this pod out tomorrow, but I'm not sure if it'll happen. But on the international news, there's lots happening. So lots of matches. Hopefully your PVR is set, and maybe your DAAZN count is paid and up to date. There's a few big matches going on. The Tri-Nations, Blood is Slow number 3, New Zealand versus Australia. This should be a cracker. Right, New Zealand is up at the moment. They've got a draw and a win. Aussies need to win by over 20, by my count, to take back the Blood is Slow for the first time since 2002. So it's been 18 years since the Aussies have won it, and New Zealand's primed to retain. But we'll see what the Australians can bring into the match tomorrow. Six Nations, there's a flood of matches this weekend: Wales v Scotland, Italy v England, and France v Ireland. Right now, Ireland is leading with 14 points. And England and France are tied at 13. England should trounce Italy. If you're a betting man or you're a betting woman, you definitely take the money on England. So it'll come down to that France-Ireland match to see who wins the Six Nations this year. It could be any of those 3 teams, but France and Ireland, I think, have the edge depending on how things play out on the weekend. Scotland and Wales are slugging out for 4th. Big thing out of that match is Alan Wynne-Jones is set to pass Richie McCaw as the most capped player at all. Right now, they're tied at 148 test caps, and after this Scotland-Wales match, Wynne-Jones will be at 149. Also in some international news, you've probably already heard about the Barbarians players and that lead up to the English match last weekend that was canceled. But if not, just briefly, 13 players were found in a pub posting social media pictures, not following COVID guidelines. This suspended an England versus Barbarians match, which was supposed to be an England warm-up game to the Six Nations match, and a lot of people were upset. The Babas, it's a great program. They pride themselves on touring rugby, camaraderie, drinking, just loving life. But these 13 probably should feel shamed, and Eddie Jones really lashed out. English skipper said this has reduced rugby to a laughingstock, and I'm going to read you a quote from his, and it's pretty good for Eddie. Whether you like Eddie or not, he makes some valid points. So this is Eddie Jones. We understand that rugby at the moment is a bit of a laughingstock, and we all love the game. We are lucky enough to play the game at the highest level, and we want to make sure we put the game back where it needs to be. We have a great game in rugby, and we don't like to see it portrayed as something that is not a serious sport, as it has been. So we understand both of those responsibilities, and as a weight we carry and it is a weight that we enjoy carrying. No one likes to see a game called off because of a breakdown in the protocols in society at the moment. That's what happened. It is not good for rugby, but we haven't got an opportunity to turn that around. It's been a difficult time for society. People have lost their jobs. People have lost family members. So we feel absolutely privileged to have the opportunity to play top level rugby, and our responsibility is to put a smile on people's faces, and we would like to make people happy for a period of time that maybe takes away some of the pain of society at the moment. So yeah, like I said, if you like Eddie Jones or not, that was a really valuable quote, um, summing up what's going on in the world and how rugby can help make people happy. So thank you very much, Jones, for saying that. And those Bob players, you love watching that game, but geez, like, give your head a shake, boys. What are you doing? So that leads us into the gray area this week. So I was thinking about doing one on the Barbarians thing, but I thought, no, let's let that one push off. We'll get two. One's tying up. So the Rugby Canada beer names that we kind of talked about on the Tyson Boogaboom pod. It's been going out on social media. As I record, it's in round 2. We went from 20 beer names, we're down to 10, and we're slowly whittling away. The winner of that is going to get a Canadian Ruck Toque. If it happens to be a beer name that I created, it will go to the actual person. So if DTH wins, I'm going to mail DTH a Canadian Ruck hat. If Hubert Biden wins, I'm going to mail Hubert Biden a Canadian Ruck Toque. But my hope, it'd be awesome. But my hope is that it's one of the viewers, one of the listeners, one of their names wins, and we'll be mailing them a toque. So that'll take us to the gray area for this week. And the gray area is going back to that Scotland-Wales game in the Alan Wynne-Jones set to pass Richie McCaw. Both outstanding players. The longevity is amazing. I'm a huge Richie McCaw fan. I've got his autographed photo right over my left shoulder. But I also love Alan Wynne-Jones. I love how he represents Wales. I love how he carries himself on the pitch. My question this week, and I'm going to put this out next week for social media, but who would you take to build your team around? Keeping in mind that this is something that, take them both in their prime. They both played against each other. If they were in their prime right now, which one would you take to build your team around? And I know they play vastly different positions, flank and second row. They're both in that forward pack, and they both bring a lot of the same attributes to the game, and they also bring a lot of different attributes to the game as well. Which one would you take? Would you take McCaw, or would you take Jones to build around your team? And that's it for the gray area, and that's it for the intro. And coming up now, we have Gordon McRorie. All right, so Gordon, welcome to the Canadian Ruck. Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule over there training in Italy. It's about 11:30 Gordon's time, but he says he's a night owl, so I'm excited to have him on. Old scrum half like myself, so this will be a lot of fun. So, Gordon, welcome to the Canadian Ruck.
Cheers, thanks.
All right, so reading your bio and stuff, it looks to me like you were born in Hong Kong, you moved to the UK, you settled in Canada, you're over in Italy now. Talk to us a little bit about your journey growing up, becoming involved in rugby, high school, university, national team. What was that like for you, moving all around and kind of getting your feet settled into the game?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was born in Hong Kong. My father was a pilot for Cathay Pacific, so both my sister and I were born out there. And then we decided to move back to Scotland pretty much when the handover, when the Chinese took over Hong Kong. So we upped and got out of there. And then went to Scotland. So grew up in Scotland. Played rugby at school. Also played at the same time for a rugby club called Creef. And then as I kind of went further in, I joined another club called Stirling County, which had a fairly notorious junior section. So then I kept playing with the school and played with Stirling County. And then when I finished high school, I went to the University of Stirling, just down the road. And then I got an opportunity to come to Canada and play some rugby there. I was only going to really come out for a summer, and then ended up being 9 years. And then I finally just got the opportunity to come out and as a player coach for ASR Milano here in Milan in Italy.
So what was the connection for you to be able to play for Canada?
There wasn't really any connection at all.
Okay.
Back then, the eligibility rules were that if you were in the country for 3 years legally, that you were able to represent that country. So yeah, so I arrived in May of 2011, so became eligible in 2014 May, and then was given the opportunity to represent Canada.
So what was your draw? Like, why did you come to Canada?
A very good friend of mine, he's still in Edmonton now, but we went to university together, and he got an opportunity to go and play in Edmonton and work. So after my third year at university, I went out there to visit. Did a 3-week trip in July. So it was perfect weather, nice dry
Wasn't
fields
the winter
for
time in
playing
Edmonton?
rugby on. Yeah, no, it was a great time. And then I was just there on holiday, so the clubhouse was my mainstay after watching the game. So
Yeah.
a few beers here and there, and then went down to the Stampede at Calgary. Yeah, I just had an absolute fantastic time in those 3 weeks. So I came home back to Scotland, and basically from the day I landed back in Scotland, I was itching to get back to Canada. I was actually going to go back and play. So that club in Edmonton was the Strathcona Druids.
Okay.
So I was hoping to play for them, but they'd already organised a few imports already. So they said, well, it's probably not worth your while because you've got too many imports. So I said, no, it's okay. And then eventually got the opportunity to I gave the Calgary Hornets a call, and at the time Graham Moffat was the head coach of the Calgary Hornets, and he's had been a coach with Canada before. So yeah, he said come on over, and yeah, and I kind of went from there really.
Sounds like a neat little journey though, like kind of all over the place, and it fell into your lap where you get a chance to try out for Canada and made good on it. Like you played for Canada the 2015 World Cup, the 2019 World Cup. Two different experiences. One, you're from the UK, from Scotland, so just a short train ride away to England. Talk to us about the experience of playing the World Cup there, so close to maybe some of your family.
Yeah, it's a tough question. It's hard to sort of put that experience into words. Yeah, I don't think it's really sunk in yet, to be honest. Even 5 years later, still when I think about it, it's like, Jesus, I can't believe I was involved in a tournament like that. As a kid watching rugby since I could stand, and I tried to watch every Rugby World Cup. I was a big Scotland supporter, so I'd always watch the games with my dad, and then to eventually be involved in the tournament with Canada, as you said, in England. A bunch of family were there to watch my games, and some friends from Scotland came down, and yeah, no, it was a very surreal experience, but yeah, one I'll very much cherish.
What were your expectations like for the event for yourself? Like, did you put any pressure on yourself where there were family there, or was it just, I'm going to go out and do my best and play rugby and represent Canada the best I can?
Yeah, I think yeah, well, it was almost surreal that I was even there representing Canada in the first place. I was still new to the squad, I suppose. Well, I mean, I've been playing for a year, but still fairly new. So I definitely wanted to prove to myself that I deserved to be there as a player, and I want to make, I didn't want to let my teammates down in any way, like anybody would in a team environment. So I was there to do a job. It was an experience, but that was one of the best rugby teams I've ever been involved in was that Canada 2015 World Cup squad. So we definitely had some big targets, and yeah, I think we definitely showed some good rugby, and I definitely wanted to make sure that I was putting my best foot forward for the team.
That's awesome. Yeah, Canada's always seems to be in a really tough pool there, and 2019 was no different with New Zealand and South Africa and Italy had a great game against us. What were those two? How did those two experiences differ for you?
Yeah, I think the 2015 World Cup being the first one, there was definitely a lot of unknowns. Just stepping into that environment, there was crazy environment. You're in England, the home of rugby, and every corner you in town you walk around, there's people packed, and there's rugby jerseys everywhere. There's pubs are packed, and it was a cool experience. The 2019 World Cup, having been to a World Cup already, kind of had somewhat of an idea of of what was required as a player, and but it was still a very different experience. I think Japan being the first Asian country to host a tournament, they were nothing but incredible hosts, and yeah, just and then also the opportunity with New Zealand and South Africa in our pool, and then also Italy, a bit of revenge, but obviously that didn't go to plan. But yeah, no, it was great to see a lot of the boys who'd never been to a World Cup experience it as well. So that was also nice to see, and I think it's put those guys in good stead for the World Cups in the future.
Absolutely. I like how you said opportunity there. When people think of the All Blacks or the Springboks, it can be intimidating. I've had the Beast on before, and I've had Sam Cane on before, and talking to those two and their rugby IQ, it just blew my mind. But you mentioned it was an opportunity where some others might cower. How do you look at that as an opportunity for yourself?
Oh, I mean, it's the two best teams in the world, I think, and it's probably it is the only chance that I'll ever have at playing a team like that ever again. So I mean, it's kind of, it's your one and all. Why not test yourself against the best in the world? And we had nothing to lose in those two games, and we just have a good crack and see how we end up against some of the best players in the world. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing to lose really. Just go out there and give your all. And I think as an opportunity, if you look at it like that, then I think that's a pretty healthy way to understand how big this game is. But you deserve to be there, and why not test yourselves against the best, and no regrets.
Absolutely. I love that. No regrets. And watching that, especially the South Africa game, the second half that you guys put on was just dynamic. It was dynamite to watch that second half performance. Like, you didn't roll over, and you took it right to the Springboks. And I mean, it was like a 14-7 second half score. It was a night and day game. So learning some new tricks and showing those big guys on the world stage that Canada's not to be trifled with. So that was a very proud moment for Canadian fans for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's the heart of the team, isn't it? I think we were down to 14 men. We obviously didn't have the best of starts, and to have the heart and the ticker to accept that the first half is what it is. But we've got another 40 minutes to put some pride back in the jersey and back into this team. And I commend all the boys that were involved in that game that day. That that's exactly what they did.
Perfect. So let's look at right now. 2020 has been disappointing for many. I mean, we talked about this before we started recording. COVID's ravaged Italy and parts of Canada and elsewhere. It's also been hard on professional athletes and national athletes like yourself. You're supposed to be playing with AS Rugby Milano. You had a preseason game a couple of weeks ago. You're supposed to have your first game this weekend, but due to some new outbreaks almost, you're not playing. What's that mentality like for you to stay ready, getting tested, and being the professional athlete and just trying to stay ready and prepared to play?
Yeah, I think that it's a bit different here because we're still training, which I think is a bit of a blessing. There's obviously loads of protocols that we have to go through before we even get onto the field, but to even be involved in trainings and getting to throw a ball around is something that is still exciting. I feel sorry for the guys who don't even get that opportunity to even train or chuck a ball around. So being in this environment where we still get to train is great. It also means that we can put in some work in some of our attacking phases or our defensive structures that maybe hopefully when things do turn around in a couple of weeks, hopefully fingers crossed that we can hit the ground running I think the players are pretty keen. Like, very disappointed not to be playing, but I think they're very keen to keep improving and work on our ideas and go from there.
Great. Why did you choose Rugby Milano? Like, why Italy?
Yeah, it's always been something that ever since I got involved with the Canada Rugby, was to try and find something in a professional environment, a full-time environment. So returning to Europe was always something that I wanted to do. Whether it be France or Italy, I think UK would have been nice, but having grown up there, wanted something new, a different challenge. And the opportunity came up with ASR Milano as a player coach, and obviously wanted to be playing, but I think the coaching side was what really excited me, and my wife Janine, she's a bit of an adventurer too, so she's very keen and very, I think, more pleased with the opportunity than I was, to be honest. But yeah, so no, that's So as soon as that opportunity came up, there was some tough conversations, some good conversations, and we decided the pros outweighed the cons, and we should go for it.
Italy's one of those countries I've always wanted to visit, but I'm definitely going to be waiting until a vaccine comes out, I think. So, just stay safe over there for sure.
Yeah. No, I haven't really spent too much time outside of Milan, but yeah, the city's pretty incredible with the history, and obviously, like a place like Italy with the Roman times, some of the history is pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next one's a little weird. I came across an article that had the many nicknames of Gordon McRorie. I found Mouse, Pointy, McPointy Bodie, I think, Bruce, Pointy Head, and G. What? I mean, everybody has a rugby nickname, but you've got like 7 there. What's with all the names?
I think.
And how do you know when to respond?
Well, the most recent nickname would be Bruce, and that was my Canadian nickname.
Where'd that come from?
It's basically my drunk alter ego. Is called Bruce. So it came around from I introduced a drinking game to the players and called G'day Bruce, and everyone's called Bruce. So I don't know if you've ever played or not, but
I want you to explain that though. we got to unleash this on the Canadian public.
Unleash it, yeah. So so basically you sit around in a circle and everybody's called Bruce. So you would turn to your mate to your right and you'd say G'day Bruce, and he'd say G'day Bruce back, and then I'd say G'day to Bruce. So then basically you go round and round and round, and I was fairly drunk at the time and trying to explain G'day Bruce while you're drunk to people that probably don't understand your accent at the time. This was very early on, so so that went down as a bit of a disaster for me, and then so then Bruce was born after that.
That's fair. Which one of those nicknames do you hate hearing the most?
Hate hearing.
Like if I fly over to Italy next week, do my quarantine, and I meet you on the street and I say, "Hey, Mouse, how's it going?"
Mouse,
are you gonna walk away?
Well, Mouse is my nickname back in Scotland.
Okay.
So that was my university nickname, and I don't know if I hate any of them, but I like it. I'm just basically used to them. It's I suppose it's for a group of friends. Each group of friends has a different nickname for me and a different story, and that's kind of how all these nicknames came around.
Well, that sounds fair. That sounds fair. All right, so Bruce, we're at the section now in our podcast where we do quick fire, and so I've got about 20 questions here. Half of them are rugby based, and the other half are kind of about your personality. They're not meant to think a whole lot, so I just have fun with it, and we'll see how it goes. All right.
Very good.
All right. First question: what's the best team you ever faced?
Oh, the All Blacks.
I'd say that would be up there. Best player you ever faced?
Best player.
It doesn't have to be an opposite number. It could be like anybody, but it's up to you.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think in the 2015 World Cup, Johnny Sexton was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then actually probably in the 2019 World Cup, the Italian number 7, Jake Pellegrini,
Beast.
yeah, single-handedly dominated us, I would say, at parts of the game. So,
okay.
Yeah, those guys were pretty good.
It might be the same answer for this. So the toughest player you ever faced. And when I ask that, it's the guy where it's a one-on-one, 1v1. You look up, he has the ball, and you're praying that he trips and falls before he gets to you.
Yeah, probably Joshua Tuisova, the Fijian winger.
I've heard that name quite a few times.
Yeah. Luckily, I never had to face him one-on-one in a 5-meter channel, but yeah, I dread what that would be like.
What's the best match you were ever a part of?
Best match I've ever part of.
It doesn't have to be international. Some guys go back to their college days, but it's the one that stands out.
Yeah, I think the one that stands out, I just thought about it now, is probably when with the Prairie Wolfpack, when we went to Ontario in 2014, I think it was, in Peterborough, and we beat them in Peterborough. Because I think they won the championship again that year, but I think they had won 4 times, and they absolutely destroyed us in Calgary a couple of weeks before. So yeah, we did well to beat them, and it was just a great game. We bullied them pretty well, and I think Ray Barco's head was like a pinboard. So when he's coming out of a ruck like that, it's a hard, tough game. So yeah, I'd say that game.
All right, what's your favorite rugby tradition?
Favorite rugby tradition? The song after your first cap's pretty cool.
What was yours?
What was mine? I sang Lola by the Kinks.
Oh, you got to give us a little taste of that. Patty Parfrey sang the Teenage Mutant Ninja. Jeez, I can't even say their name. The turtle song.
Ninja Turtles. Yeah, he loves that. Right. He loves that song.
Give us a couple of lines.
I can't remember. I think it's just
her name was
Lola. Lola, 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 Lola. Was no other lyric? She walked up to me and she asked me to dance. I asked her name and then a dog. Oh, I can't remember. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's all right. All right. Who's the best team you ever played with?
Best team I ever played with? Yeah, I think probably the 2015 Canada squad.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think the potential that squad had was was pretty high, and unfortunately we never really got to that level. But I think in that World Cup we showed that we probably should have beaten Italy, ran France close, and yeah, definitely should have beat Romania. But that's another story.
Yeah. Who's the player you love to smash?
Player that I'd love to smash. I'd love to smash any player if I could. I'm pretty small, so I don't think I've ever smashed a player in my life.
Well, that's all right. There's a lot of us out there that really haven't smashed anybody bad. So. Any rugby superstitions?
No, not really, to be honest. No, I've thought about doing some sort of what's the word I'm looking for, like structure into my day before of the game, but yeah, and I'd never really materialize. I just like to just go with the flow and chill, and obviously when you get onto the field and sing the anthem, you're in the zone, but yeah, just go with the flow, I think.
That's fair. Did you watch the documentary The Last Dance with Michael Jordan?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Who for you would be your Jordan, your Pippen, and your Rodman that you've played with?
Well, I don't know. When I think of Dennis Rodman, the word weirdo pops into my head, and I'm sure Evan Olmsted won't mind me saying this because he doesn't think much of my opinion anyway. But I'd say Evan Olmsted would be Dennis Rodman.
Okay.
Pippin, I think he's a bit of a workhorse, isn't he? So I think Nick Blevins would be my Scottie Pippen, just because I've firsthand seen the amount of work that guy puts in, and then on the field, the stuff he does, the grit and the tough work that he does off the ball is pretty good. So I'd say Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan. I don't know, Taylor Paris pops in my head for some reason. I don't know why, but Taylor Paris.
All right, Taylor Paris. All right, Bruce, what's your most used app?
Most used app?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, probably Facebook. Oh, yeah.
I was worried you were going to say TikTok there. That's all right.
Nah, I've managed to keep away from TikTok. But...
Good. What's your go-to food?
Go-to foods, probably pasta, to be honest. So
Pasta.
Yeah.
All right. Chips or cookies?
Cookies.
What kind?
Chocolate chip, probably.
Chocolate chip, good one. French fries or onion rings?
Oh, onion rings.
All right. What's your favorite beer?
Favorite beer? Probably one from Scotland that I probably lived on in my university days was Belhaven Best.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of easiest way to describe it would be like a light Guinness, I suppose, like nice, smooth beer.
Right. A light Guinness, I don't know. I'm a Guinness fan. I'm not sure about a light.
Oh, yeah, Guinness, yeah. It's not quite as strong, but it goes down too easy.
Imagine it does. All right, so that probably answers my next question. Canadian beer or European beer? Remember, this is the Canadian Rock.
Yeah. I do like what's it called? It's a red beer. I forgot the name of it now. Not Moosehead.
Molson Canadian?
No, it's like God, I've forgotten. I've forgotten already. I've only been out of the country for a month.
Something from Canada that you like. All right.
Yeah. It's red. It's red. It's fizzy, and it tastes nice. Comes in pints.
All right. What's a guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. Probably my PlayStation.
All right. What are you playing?
I just like FIFA.
FIFA. Okay. What's the best place for a post-match beer?
Best place for post-match beer probably be in the change rooms, I would say. After a good win, a couple of beers in the change room with the boys. It's the best place, I'd say.
It's a great spot. What series are you binge watching right now?
Binge watching. I just finished Ratchet on Netflix.
What's that one?
It was a bit of a weird one. It's basically I enjoyed One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, so it's about Nurse Ratchet before her life before.
Okay.
So it's a bit depressing and about mental health and psychiatric wards, but
maybe not something to watch during lockdowns and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I had to do 2 weeks of quarantine, so
okay. Got you through.
Yeah, it got me through that. So.
All right. What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie would be Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, that's a popular pick. All right, 3 quick fires left. Who would play you in the Netflix movie of your life?
Who would play me? I don't know if there's too many middle-aged balding blokes around, is there? I'd say, balding. I'd probably just say Shane O'Leary then. You could play me.
Who would play the leading lady?
The leading lady. There's an actress that actually looks a lot like my wife Janine. She's in the movie Bridesmaids. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but probably her, the main actress.
Which one does she play in the movie?
She plays the main one.
The funny one?
The funny one, yeah.
Okay.
I forget her name, but
Yeah, I can't remember. I know who you mean.
She was on, yeah, she's on SNL
Yeah.
for a while and all that stuff. Yeah.
What would the movie be called?
What would the movie be called?
Probably something to do with one of your many nicknames, but
Yeah, I was going to say Mouse, Pointy, and Janine, maybe. Or Bruce, Mousy, and Pointy.
sounds good. All right, thanks for those. Just got a few questions left, and then we'll sign off there.
Yeah.
Gordon, who had the biggest impact on you as a player?
As a player, I'll probably be my parents, my mum and dad. I think when I was a kid, I was basically involved in rugby. I think it was more or less 6 days or 6 evenings a week with the school and with the club, and you know, the time that they gave to drive me around to all those practices would, you know, definitely helped me to where I am as a player today, I suppose. And then I think also my wife Janine, she's been really supportive, and our family too, like coming out to both World Cups and giving me, you know, telling me that I should go out and do these things that means I'm away from home for a while. So yeah, family really, just giving those opportunities and backing me, and you know,
It's a great answer, I think.
yeah,
Absolutely.
making sure that I'm happy doing what I want to do, and I've got that support, so that definitely helps.
Perfect. What are your thoughts on what makes a great team player?
Yeah, I think just a selfless attitude, someone who supports the rest of the teammates. I think someone who's you know, I think we've all been dropped, and we've all been had our starts, but I think showing the character that when you're not included in the team is to get over it, and then do the next job, which is to support the person that's in that position that you want to be in. So that's definitely something that I've struggled with before, but yeah, it's you know, it's about making sure the person who is in that spot that you're after, you know, your team at the end of the day, that they have the best opportunity to perform. And
yeah. That's awesome. That is hard to do. Does anybody stick out that embodies that for you that you've played with?
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of guys that have been like that, to be honest. It's very rare, I think, that I've come across anybody who's the opposite of that. So yeah,
Almost a rugby trait, isn't it?
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's you know, it's a team sport. I think if you don't have that trait, then you don't really make it too far in team sports. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Gordon, as a rugby player, what do you want to be remembered for? So it's, you know, you love that 2015 World Cup experience. It's now 2020, say in another 15 years, it's 2035. You guys are having a gathering together. What do you want your ex-teammates to be saying about you? What do you think they're going to say about you?
Yeah, just a good bloke, a good person, someone that maybe after 10 years, you walk into a room and, you know, it's what it was like when, you know, 10 years ago. You just get on like it was yesterday, kind of thing. And yeah, so somebody who's easy to get along with, and you know, enjoyed each other's company.
I think that's fair. All right. You're early 30s now. You have some good years of rugby ahead of you left there in Milano. What do you see yourself doing when you finally hang up the boots? I know you maybe not even thought about it too much, but do you have a career path in mind? Coaching?
Yeah, it's been an interesting year, to be honest, because after the 2019 World Cup, I was more or less, I was toing and froing about the whole playing again, but I got an opportunity to coach the Strathcona Druids. So we did 3 or 4 sessions, and then the COVID hit, but so that kind of went down the drain. But I was working as in payroll and in a HR environment at a company in Edmonton since 2018, and they were good enough to give me the time off to go and do the repechage, and then they gave me a whole bunch of months off to prepare for the World Cup. So I was working for them. Yeah, and then that really kind of got me thinking about what I really want to do. Yeah, especially when the coaching opportunity was squashed with COVID. So that definitely got me thinking that I wanted to stay in rugby. I'm a fairly competitive person, and it wasn't something that I was getting in my daily job, 9-to-5 job. So really, when the Italy opportunity came up, and it was about playing and about transitioning into a coaching, it was a coaching opportunity. It was really a no-brainer, really, and full credit to my wife. She said, if you don't take this, you'll regret this for the rest of your life. So
Good for her.
So I think, yeah. So when I hang up the boots, I'd like to think I'd still be involved in the game. I've been involved in rugby for a long time now. A huge majority of my life, like most rugby players, I suppose. So I'd like to continue, coaching and helping others, and that would be. I think that's what I want to do anyway. We'll find out.
No, that's a good pathway for sure. Lastly, Gordon, any great rugby stories you can share with us? I always ask. Feel free to throw any of your ex teammates under the bus, but it's entirely up to you.
The one story that popped in my head. Unfortunately, it's about me, but hopefully no one's too worried about my voice yet. But it was at the 2015 World Cup. We were playing Ireland in the Millennium Stadium, and I was warming up, and I was doing sort of a goal kicking drill where you put the ball on the try line and you try and hit the post from about 30 meters out or so. And so it was about, I don't know, maybe the stadium was half full, so there was still a good amount of people in there. So I was just doing my own thing, kicked maybe 3 or 4 and didn't hit the post. And on the 5th kick, I hit the post, and this massive crowd cheer, eruption of noise happened, and I was like, "Oh, holy shit, this is pretty cool!" Like I've managed to, people were actually watching me hit this, hit this ball against the post, and then I realized I looked to my left, and Paul O'Connell and Johnny Sexton had just run onto the field, and all the Irish in the crowd were going ballistic. And
no, they were cheering for you. It was all you.
Oh yeah, no. I looked up in the crowd, and literally not one person was looking at me. So I thought, okay, I'm back in my place now.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Very humble of you too. That's awesome. All right, Gordon. Thanks very much for spending some time with us tonight, and we wish you a lot of to be safe during COVID over there in Italy, and we hope that you get back on the pitch here soon, and you guys are back playing and in full contact and everything. So thanks for taking the time to chat with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate the well wishes, and you stay safe, Christ, over there too.
All right, cheers, bud.
Right.
All right, thanks very much, Gordon. That was awesome. Great time chatting with you. I love all the nicknames, and we did figure it out. Gordon emailed me afterwards, and we chatted. And the beer he was thinking of was Rickard's Red. Very good beer, very memorable. So good on you for remembering that. Just want to wish you the best of luck, man. I know it's going to be tough over in Italy, living over there in the lockdown, and you were supposed to play this weekend. It's not happening, but keep your chin up, and brighter days are on the way. Coming up next, we got Mackenzie Thomas coming up next. She's playing in the top pro league over in Europe. After that, we have Katie Sadler. Katie is the general manager of women's rugby at World Rugby. She was a really interesting conversation. And then after that, we have Harry Jones from the men's sevens national team. So we got 3 pretty good pods coming up. And then after that is Jonathan Kaplan. Jonathan's just going to be an audio. Jonathan, when he retired, was the most capped official. Had some good stories and a really good conversation with Jonathan a couple nights ago. So we've got 4 scheduled that are ready to go, and we've got a lot more on tap. As always, thank you all to the listeners, and keep spreading the good rugby word. We've got some great guests, and it's awesome when these great stories can be shared out. So make sure that you're doing your part and passing these stories around so everybody can hear them. As always, got to say thanks to Ben Sound Music for supplying us with their tunes. And as always, feel free to request topics for future podcasts. One thing I reached out a few days ago to Canada's wheelchair rugby team and the national team, and it looks like we're going to try and get something set up to be chatting with some of those folks, so that'll be fun as well. So, as always, this is Jamie, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and most importantly, you know it, keep on rocking.